So your company is growing, maybe even going global. That's amazing. But it also brings this huge new puzzle. How do you manage your most important asset, your people, when they're spread all across the world? Honestly, it's one of the biggest challenges in business today, and we're about to piece together the solution.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to build a great company culture when everyone's in one office. But how do you scale that feeling, that sense of fairness, and that efficiency across different continents, time zones, and dozens of unique cultures? That's the puzzle we're tackling.
You see, as a company expands internationally, the complexity of managing people doesn't just grow, it multiplies. Every new country you enter adds a whole new layer of laws, cultural norms, and employee expectations. It really is a massive challenge. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. On one side, you've got your global headquarters, right? They're trying to push out standardized policies, keep everyone aligned on the same goals, and build one unified corporate culture. But then you have the reality on the ground. You have all these local offices, and each one has its own unique laws, its own cultural norms, its own way of doing things. It becomes super clear, super fast, that a one-size-fits-all approach is just not going to work. So what do? How do you solve this? Well, the secret is you don't pick a side. The real strategy is all about bridging that divide. It's about building a system that can combine those big global standards with a really smart, sensitive, local touch. And here it is. This is the core idea that unlocks everything. You don't walk into a new country and tell your team, hey, forget how you do things here. No way. Instead, you find clever ways to integrate their local practices with the company's global standards. You're basically creating this hybrid system that gets you the best of both worlds. Okay, but for that integration to actually work, you need a system, a real framework, and that entire system has to be built on one simple but powerful principle: fairness. We're talking about consciously designing career paths that feel equitable and inclusive to every single person, no matter where they are in the world. So how do you build it? Well, it really breaks down into 3 practical steps. First, and this is crucial, you have to acknowledge the differences. Don't pretend a manager in Tokyo works the same way as a manager in Texas. They don't. Second, you integrate those local insights. Maybe the way your team in Japan builds consensus has lessons that could benefit the entire company. And finally, you create career paths that are crystal clear and transparent, so everyone knows the rules of the game no matter what office they're in. Of course, a system is one thing, but you need the right people to make it work. And this new global approach, it demands a completely new type of leader. Someone who can literally weave leadership right into the fabric of a multicultural team. We call this transnational leadership. Think of it as a constant balancing act. On one hand, you have to be super efficient in how you manage talent. But on the other hand, you have to be deeply, genuinely respectful of cultural diversity. That balance, it's not just a nice idea, it's the engine that powers this entire strategy. All right, enough with the theory. It all sounds good, but what does this actually look like day to day? Let's get practical and break down how these principles apply to the real-world stuff, the core functions of managing people. Let's start with hiring. When you're recruiting globally, you're not just looking for a skill set. You're navigating this maze of different hiring laws and cultural expectations. I mean, a standard interview question in one country could be totally illegal in another. The real goal is to design selection criteria that are truly fair and help you find the absolute best person for the job, whether they're in Berlin or Bangalore. Next up, relocation. Look, moving an employee from one country to another isn't just about booking a flight and shipping some boxes. It's a massive life event. A transnational approach means you're supporting the employee and their family with a cultural adjustment. You're helping them through the nightmare of legal and tax issues, and you're genuinely helping them integrate and feel at home. And what about moving up in the company? This is a tricky one. A promotion plan has to recognize that great performance can look very different in different cultures. A decisive top-down leader might get all the praise in one office, while a quiet consensus builder is seen as the real star in another. The key is creating transparent global career paths and, maybe most importantly, training your managers to see and avoid their own cultural biases. And finally, how do you keep all these amazing people? Retention on a global scale means you have to understand what truly motivates your employees in different parts of the world. A big stock option plan might be a huge deal in Silicon Valley, but maybe extended family health benefits are way more valued somewhere else. It all comes down to fostering a real sense of belonging for everyone. So after all this hard work, what's the payoff? Well, it's huge. When you get this global-local balance right, you create an organization that is not only incredibly efficient, but is also built on a deep foundation of respect. And what does that lead to? You got it. Better employee retention and a much, much stronger company overall. If you take just one thing away today, please let it be this. The ultimate goal here isn't just to build a well-oiled machine. It's to build a well-oiled machine that has a human heart. One that truly values and respects the cultural diversity that makes a global company so incredibly powerful in the first place. And so, that leaves us with one final question for you. Take a look at your own organization, your own team. Is your talent strategy really truly built for the complex, multicultural, and interconnected world we all live and work in today? Something to think about.